All right, here we are. Those of you who aren't tracking, it's September because this is live. And Otis McGregor, I am, if you don't know me, I'd be surprised. But if you don't, CEO, founder of Tribe and Purpose. And if you forget, it's up here on my hat. And it's there on the board because I like to keep things simple. I like to keep the message simple. I like to keep you going and keep you interested. And I just realized I forgot my notebook, but that's okay. So I'll be right back. There we go. Got it this time. See, it says Tribe and Purpose. That's how I know it's mine. So what I'm talking to you about today in this ongoing series, this is our ninth one in 2024, by the way, if you're keeping count, because I know I am, I know Camden is. But what I'm talking to you today is about bad management. And bad management does not equal bad leaders. So if we were to do this, or even better, that, because you know why? Why do I say that? Why do I say there's no such thing as a bad leader? Boy, the reason I say that is because, and we're going to use something that shows up a little bit better on this black board, is because, there we go, that's a little bit better, because you know what? There's no such thing as a bad leader. You're either a leader or you're not. There's toxic leadership, bad leadership. In my book, no such thing, because they're not leaders. They're toxic people. They're bad managers. That's what we're talking about here. There's no such thing as a bad leader, because then they're not a leader, right? Now, there's somebody and some people who, could they be better leaders? Could they become great leaders? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because what do we do as a leader? We look to improve each and every day in everything we do. That's what leaders do. That's why there's no such thing as a bad leader, because they ain't leading. There's good leaders. There's leaders, good leaders, and great leaders. That's how I'd define it. And if you want to become a great leader, you got to work at it. This isn't some just show up and do your best. You got to work at it intentionally. You got to do things like watch this video. Join us in this live conversation about leadership. It's not just willy-nilly figuring it out. You got to lead. And the only way to lead is to be successful and improve on who you are each and every day as a leader and as a human being, because what is a leader but a human being, right? So a bad leader doesn't exist, but bad managers do. Boy, you know, sometimes hat crooked thing bother you, OCD. Too many years in the Army. Everything's got to be dressed right dress. But bad managers. So what do we do about bad managers? Well, depends. Does the bad manager work for you? Or do you work for the bad manager? Let's start with what to do if you're in one of those situations where the dude above you ain't no good. He's a bad manager. We could even call him a toxic manager. So what are we going to do? How do you handle that? He's the one who's in charge of you. He's the one who's telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it even. So how do you, as an individual, handle that? Well, it's one of the most challenging things that you can do. One of the most challenging activities that you can go through is to deal with a bad manager, to work for one. because you have zero authority over them. So what do you do as an individual? It is a test of your mettle. And what I mean is it is a full-on to see if you will cave or be your authentic self. Be true to your own values, your own ways of doing things. That's the first thing. Many people that I've talked to over the years that have dealt with bad managers, you know what they end up doing? Just assimilating. One of those people that becomes an oxygen thief and just ho hum, collect a paycheck, go on about their lives. That sucks, man. I don't know about you, but the one or two times I've been in those situations, I didn't last. There we go. We back? We back? Yes, we are. Thank you very much, Mr. Internet, not Mr. Xfinity. I'm not happy. There's an editorial. Maybe even a whiskey words coming on that one. But back to where we were. Bad managers. If you work for them, your job is be strong-willed in who you are. That's critical. Because if not, then you roll over, and as I said earlier, end up assimilating, end up just being that person who's beat down, has no drive, no purpose, no excitement to life. That sucks, man. Don't be that person. And if you're watching this video, I bet you're not that person. So that's number one. Make sure that you are strong in who you are, your values, what's important to you, what are your standards, and uphold those. And you know what happens when you do that? People start to follow you. Other people on the team start to migrate to you. Now, I've been in these situations a couple of times. Stuck it out for a little while. I held my mettle. I held to my values of who I was and what I wanted to do, how I wanted to perform was important. And I stood up to that individual. No, I don't want a bad manager. Wow, what is going on with the internet? The bad manager, it was between what's going do this 8 times and nothing happens. You do it a 9th time, you have to. So let's keep, wow. It's like I'm in dial-up speed right now, folks. I apologize. Let me see if I can get on a better internet real quick. There we go. Now, how's that looking? Come on. Come on. It's coming back. I feel you. Suspense. Suspense is there. All right. All right. There we go. Yeah, Scott, you're telling me not to apologize? Brother. That's the funniest thing I heard all day. Love you, man. Hey, so I stood my ground to the point where, and I'll cover this last step here in a minute. I'll leave it at that. Suspense, because I like to keep you hanging on your seat, edge of your seat. You have to be true to yourself. And when you're true to yourself, people that have values that are aligned with you, they migrate to you. And they start to see that who the real leader of the organization is. It's not always the person with the title. Just remember that. It's if you stand your ground, hold true to yourself, your values, don't Don't ever go against your values. You'll always regret it. Then guess what? People will migrate to you. You'll become the source, the trusted source that people want to be part of. So that would be step 2. Now here's step 3. This one's a hard one because 4 is really easy. But step 3 is tough. You know what step 3 is? Get right up there to that individual and say, hey man, you need to work on some stuff. I'd be willing to help you, but your leadership needs work. As a matter of fact, I would not even call you a leader. And address it directly to the individual. Why are you treating people like crap? Why do you throw a fit? Why do you ignore people? Why do you avoid interactions? Address it directly to that individual, to that bad manager, because you know what you're doing? You're taking the bull by the horns and you're working to solve the problems. You are the leader. You're leading yourself. You're leading that organization to change because you're telling your boss, hey, dude, you may be the boss. You may have the authority to fire me. But you know what? You're not leading. You're threatening people. I've worked with a couple of companies that had that situation. And I was always amazed that some of these individuals stayed with that organization in these times when it was bad, when it was, you remember a few months back, I talked about the trash can kicker, when that was the style of leadership that was acceptable in that organization. And these people are good people. I love them. They have great values. But they allowed themselves to be rolled over by that trash can kicker, by that bad manager. Where's that? Right there. That bad manager. Don't be that person. Address it straight on. Be confident enough in yourself to be authentic and go up to that person and say, hey, that's wrong, man. That ain't the way you treat people. That's not the way you lead an organization. I am here and I will help you. I would love to work with you, Mr. Boss, to help you be better because I think and I believe in the organization. I want to be part of a growing and successful organization. But if this keeps up, so I'm going to implement step number 4. Guess what step number 4 is? I'm out. I'm out, dude. That's what I did in one of my companies that I worked for. Years past, I was like, this sucks. I ain't putting up with it anymore. I ain't assimilating. I'm out. I'm done. Don't want to mess with it, man. Because it was against my values. It was against what I believed of how people should be treated and what the culture was like. My values, my personal values did not align with the organization's values. And that was when I said, you know what? I'm out. I quit. Thanks for the tour. Thanks for the training, the education on what bad management and bad cultures look like. Now, that's step 4, or option 4, however you want to put it. 5, I've worked with some people who took this option and still do. Stay put. Accept it. Just say, well, that's the way it is. That's the way she is. That's the way he is. Wow, I just flashed back to another client I had that I'd forgotten about. Wow. Silicon Valley client. Man, her boss. Wow. If her boss, when we talk about bad manager, or if her boss was half as bad as what she described to me, holy crap. Talk about writing a book about how not to be in charge of people, how not to manage people, how not to lead people. Oh man, that woman was fit for some special education in a rubberized room. Let's just say that. Because You can't do that. If you are, and I guarantee, you can put this in the comments, if you're one of them people that just says, well, man, I really need this job, Otis. I can't quit. All right. Are you looking for another job? Because if you need that paycheck bad enough to suffer through that every single day, to dread going into the shop every single day, to cower in the corner every single day because you don't want to interact with your boss because he or she sucks, has zero leadership ability, you're no better when you accept it. Yes, I understand you got to put a roof over the head, food on the table for the family. No doubt about that. But what are you doing to change it? How are you focused on getting a new job, getting out of that situation? Because it's burning a hole in who you are. It's not good for you, mentally and physically. Don't be that person that just accepts it and rolls over. And then the option that I took, of course, I call this the nuclear option. Boom, I'm out. You folks ain't no good. I'm tired of your BS. Here, let me give you an exit interview. Poor leadership. Exists zero leadership, zero vision, zero values, zero people care, zero leadership development. All you care about is your paycheck and your promotion. You don't care about the people that are working for you, doing the work. Take credit from, man, that's my exit interview when that happens. If you want help preparing your exit interview, if you're in that situation, give me a shout. I'll walk you through it. We'll put some notes together because that person needs to learn and be told by somebody who's willing to stand up to them, quit letting them be a bully, quit accepting bad management, and make a change. Don't do don't do like the military, and frankly, it's not just the military. Many people do it. They just accept it and roll over. Man. Hell, I did that. I stood up to guys in the military that outranked me because they sucked. Hey, sir, that's wrong. Why are you doing that? You can't do that. Don't treat people that way. That's crap. Don't. There's only one person that can make the change, and that's you. So let's flip the switch. Now, that bad manager works for you. You're responsible. He's your problem. So what you gonna do? Man, that guy's really good. He's really a great part of my team. I really appreciate it. Man, when I give him this task, holy crap, he does great. He connects me. He does with this. We're getting these new business. He's setting us up. He's doing all these great things. Until he turns back to his team. And then he treats his team like shit. Are you, CEO, going to allow one of your managers to treat somebody in your company that way? Are you that concerned about the dollar? Because if you are, you're in business for the wrong reason. One of the things you got to remember to do is turn off the notifications because they distract the hell out of you in this. But when you have that person working for you, you got to change it. So what do? I'm in charge of a bad manager. Guess what? Step number one, does the bad manager know that he ain't doing it right? Does he have a clue? Because here's the solution that most organizations, most businesses do that I've worked with over the years, or even talked to, is they have a mentoring. They say, hey, you know, Otis, my leadership development program is I mentor my guys. Okay, explain that to me. Yeah, we go to lunch. We have one-on-ones. Really? How often? You know, we go to lunch a couple times a year. We have one-on-ones scheduled, you know, once a quarter. All right, do some quick math. Anybody out there? That's 4 hours, one-on-one. 2 hours, let's give it 4 hours. 2 2-hour lunches. 8 hours, 12 months. Now, okay, 8 hours. I can do a lot in 8 hours over 12 months. Spread out. But what's the focus? Are you truly mentoring, or is it a, hey, what's going on in this program? What's going on in that program? Are you truly developing them as leaders? Or are you just shooting the shit? I guarantee 95% of the businesses out there that have an official mentoring program do not have intentionally laid out development in that mentoring program. It's just, well, I did one-on-one. I'm the boss. I got all this experience. And by me having all this experience and talking to them, they're just getting it. Okay, I hope you feel good about yourself, because that sucks. I will give you some credit, though. At least you have some intention to improve. You have some intention to develop leaders in your team. But that ain't going to do it. That's not how you fix it. So, mentoring is great, but it needs to be intentional. Oh, one more thing about mentoring that I've learned over the years talking with businesses. You know where that sits at on the priority level, priority of work? About 8 or 9. Because everything else is more important than that one-on-one. And when everything else is more important than that one-on-one, guess what? It gets canceled. Well, if I ain't got anything else going on today, don't have any proposals, client meetings, okay, we'll do our mentoring. Oh, we'll make that up. We'll make it up. BSing themselves, BSing everybody around them. If you're going to do a mentoring program, be intentional with it. Have it laid out. This is what we're going to discuss. This is how we're going to develop. These are the dates we're going to do it, and these dates do not change other than life or death situations. Then, yeah, maybe you do have a mentoring program. But let's go back to something I said very early on when we're talking about the bad manager that works for you. Does the bad manager admit that they don't know what they're doing? Are they willing to change? Or are they blowing smoke up your ass there, Mr. Boss, CEO? Because, you know, if you don't think you need to learn, you can't learn. If you don't think you made a mistake, you can't correct the mistake. Pretty simple. That's what life's about. You have to learn. You have to admit that I need to improve. You have to admit that I want to learn. That guy that we've labeled as the bad manager has to admit that. And until they admit that, I don't care what happens. There's only one other option to take care of that, and I'll tell you that one here in a little bit. So, in addition to mentoring, how about books? How about some conferences? You know, John Maxwell conference, you name it. Go see Jocko. Go see our buddy Jocko. He'll teach you some leadership about Fallujah and Iraq and combat. I love you, Jocko. Hey, but don't just send them off and spend the money, because if they do not want to change, they do not believe they have a problem, they will not change. So those are all great little things. Leadership podcast, 10X Your Team with Cam and Otis is a great option. Just saying. That's some great guests on there. But you have to talk to that individual and have them identify what they think they need to improve. And then you can help them. You can support them. Provide them the material, provide them the time to train and improve. One other thing. So I mentioned books, podcasts, go to a conference. You know what really works and works really well is leadership programs. There's not a lot out there. And the difference between a conference and a book or a podcast, those are all snapshots. And those are, having experienced it myself many times, those are all great when you're there. And they have a very, very short half-life after you leave. Gone. And it's like all those things I said last Tuesday when I was at that conference I was going to do. Yeah. By Friday, it's like, boop, gone. That's why we created our leadership development system to enable you to sustain that. So not only do we have the academic portion of it for your individual participants, for the individual participants, your future leaders, to learn the academics of it, we have something I like to refer to as the implementation call. That's a differentiator. That is taking the stuff you learn in books, here in podcasts, watch in the educational videos in our Green Beret leadership program and our leader development system, and saying, how do I implement this today? Because I've got two team members that are adversarial to each other and won't talk anymore. A couple of little pouty pouts that won't talk anymore. Well, that right there, that's where we discuss, how do we take that? How do we take that team building thing? How do we take a vision for the future? How do we take understanding and self-awareness and apply that to something they are living here and now in an implementation call as a group? That's the differentiator. That's what you have to do. You can send them to the conferences and they'll get nuggets. But I just tell you, human nature, having done enough of those, Entree Leadership with Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, trying to remember a couple others, a couple others that I've been to that weren't quite as big name. Yeah, I got some nuggets out of it. I got a library of books in my office. You've all seen them on the podcast. Take some nuggets. But if you really want to help somebody improve, you want to put them in a long-term program so that they can adapt, they can take the lessons and apply them to their life and discuss those applications with others, because there's more than one person going through the program. And they can bounce ideas and problems. And how do I do this? And how do I do that? And it's facilitated by myself and Camden, two leadership experts that you can always count on. That is how you take that dude right there, the bad manager, and turn him into a good leader and set him on a path to become a great leader, to become somebody that's going to challenge you, Mr. CEO, to be a better leader yourself. That's how you truly fix it. Now, once again, the final option, the nuclear option. Fire the dude. If he doesn't want to admit it, doesn't want to change, fire him. I don't care how good he is about getting you clients. If he is a cancer in your team, it will eat up your team and you will lose your other high performers. Dude, try replacing high quality people. Do you know to replace a senior level person, you're going to lose twice the value of their salary. That right there ought to wake you up, because I can fire that guy, the cancer, cut out the cancer, and bring together the team rather than losing 2 or 3 or more high performers. That's what you can do. That's a much better option rather than just writing it out because he's bringing some people on. We're getting some business from him. Open it up to the reality. Make the hard decision because you're a leader. You got to make that decision and fire that dude. Now, in order to do all this, we here at Tribe and Purpose are here to help you. You're watching this video. One option, you're in our do-it-yourself option. You go to our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to 10X Your Team with Cam and Otis, go to YouTube, subscribe. You'll get a notification every time I do a live, every time we put up a new video or a new short. Get some philosophy from my whiskey words. Get some education from these videos, Camden's videos that are part of satellite training for our Green Beret Leadership Program, and get access to our podcast, 10X Your Team with Cam and Otis. Man, we have some great guests on there. We had Dr. Robin on there this morning. That'll come out. Tomorrow we had Bob King. If you need to learn how to close, talk to Bob. We had him on there on our show last week, and it's just the guests just continue to roll. Our good buddy Scott, who I saw was watching us for a little while here, Scott Kinder. Man, you want to learn about project management. These are the people, this is the high quality people that we have on our show. That's why it's our do-it-yourself. You can listen to this show, you can read what we're posting. Figure it out for yourself. I encourage you to do that. Got questions? Put them in the comments. I encourage you, because we'll answer them. We'll get back to you. Next one is our done with you. And that's our leadership development system. That's what I was talking about. If you need to develop leaders, if you don't have a leadership development team, if you're not intentional in your mentoring, you don't have a program that you set up that's intentional to develop leaders in your team, give me a call. Because the leadership development program that we have is probably the right fit. And you don't have to worry about taking time out of your busy schedule to do it. You can be part of it. You don't have to set up a plan. We've got the plan built for you, and that's why we call it our done with you. We're here to develop leaders with you and your team. And truthfully, we'll even modify the program to meet some specific needs that you have in your business. And finally, our done for you. If you've got a gaping hole in your business that you, the CEO, founder, are filling every single day, if you are spending more time doing day-to-day operations instead of doing what you do best, which is sell the business, which is get out in front of people and build and grow the business, if you're spending more time head down doing day-to-day ops, you can't be out selling the business to grow the business. If you've hit a plateau, you need some help. And that's why we provide a fractional COO service to you. That's how we help you, small businesses, grow to that next level. That's frees you up, CEO, founder, so you can go do your job. Go do what you do best. Get out and sell the business. Don't be stuck looking in and down in the business every single day. By having a fractional COO, we make sure that your systems, processes, and procedures are in place for the next level. We make sure you're intentional about your culture. We make sure that you have a vision for what that's going to look like in the future. And that vision is bought in by everybody else on your team. In other words, I'll rephrase that because that was weird English. Everybody on your team is bought into that vision. And when they're bought into that vision, they see themselves in your vision. It means they're dedicated and committed to the organization. Man, gets me excited thinking about that. Those are just some of the things that we do. Our fractional COOs do for you. when you hire a Tribe and Purpose fractional COO. Go to 10xyourteam.net. Pick one. Start at the bottom if you want. Try to do it yourself. Join us in our leadership development. Or if you're ready to grow your business right here, right now, and you want help immediately, click on the link for a fractional COO. Set up a call with me. Love to talk with you. Do a leadership audit for you. See what you need, what are the gaps, what's your team look like as a leader, as processes and culture. That's what you're missing. Leading. You got to lead yourself. Lead your family. Lead your team. Lead your business. Lead your community. That's what Tribe and Purpose will help you do. Thank you again for being here, joining us. I appreciate everybody always being part of this, being part of the Tribe and Purpose tribe. We'll see you next month and another Masterclass live. Maybe I'll forget something or trip over a light again. You never know what's going to happen when Otis goes live. Thanks.